Our top story this half an hour, top Democrats are threatening to sue the White House and the intel community over the refusal to release a secret whistleblower complaint. Now, the Washington Post was first to report this story. It says that the complaint involves the president of Ukraine. President Trump is standing his ground. He tweeted this yesterday. Another fake news story out there. It never ends. Virtually any time I speak on the phone to a foreign leader, I understand that there may be many people listening from various U.S. agencies, not to mention those from the other country itself. No problem, the president writes. Knowing all of this, is anybody dumb enough, he writes, to believe that I would say something inappropriate with a foreign leader while on such a potentially heavily populated call? I would only do what is right anyway and only do good for the USA. Joining us right now is the Washington Examiner editorial director, Hugo Gurdon. And Hugo, it is good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
What do you know about this whistleblower story?
You know, the thing about the phrase whistleblower is that it gives the idea that that somehow this is an impartial ref, and one doesn't know that. It may well be that the guy who, or whoever it was who, gave the information to the Inspector General was impartial, just wanted to do a good job, saw something that he or she thought was terribly important. On the other hand, you know, the Democrats have been crying wolf about President Trump for the past 3 years, and as we know from the Mueller report, you know, all of the story about the, collusion and that sort of thing turned out to be a complete dud. So we don't really know what is going on in here. But it was very interesting that yesterday, Rudy Giuliani very candidly said, yes, of course he asked for help from the Ukrainians to investigate what he says was Joe Biden bribing the Ukrainians to over a prosecutor. The Trump administration wants the Ukrainians to look into corruption possibly involving Joe Biden's son. Now, all of this is legitimate for the Democrats to have a look at, but the Democrats always overplay their hand and demand that things are done faster than protocol allows. And, so I think that they've been crying wolf, and the public is not very engaged in this.
Is this going to blow up into something bigger?
Yeah, absolutely. The Democrats have one way to stop Donald Trump from getting a second term, and it's corruption. His policies are working. People feel good about the economy. The polls show they feel good about the direction of the country. It's all about getting him in a scandal. And this latest thing is another version of the deep state who tried to leak all those conversations with foreign policy leaders at the beginning of the administration. Now they're turning towards using this whistleblower statute, which, Maria, has nothing to do with getting the president in legal hot water. It's about a management within that agency, of which the president is not an employee.
Well, we know that for 2 years we talked about collusion with Russia, which was a completely, made up. Yesterday, the Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, testified before Congress. You would think that given the fact that Michael Horowitz is testifying, and we're all waiting for this FISA IG report to come out, that there would be some coverage of that yesterday.
Right.
In fact, we're talking all about Lewandowski and what happened the day before. No coverage of this. There's an op-ed in the Journal this morning by Kim Strassel, who does an excellent job, and she titled it, "Mr. Horowitz Speaks. Never mind Nadler's impeachment circus. The real action was at a Wednesday hearing." In it, she writes the following. Democrats talk a lot about their dedication to oversight and truth, and the media keep promising not to let democracy die in darkness. This week's tale of 2 hearings proves otherwise.
Yeah, look, we know that the Russia collusion story was a hoax. We therefore know somebody made it up, or a number of different people made it up. If you want to do really good oversight, you should be looking into who did that and how and exactly how this thing came about. But instead, the Democrats have been interested in conducting what really amounted to a show trial of Lewandowski. What they're doing this for is they want to feed red meat to the blue base.
Especially since Dagan in New York, we know that there are multiple investigations right now going on looking into the origins of the Russia probe. You've got John Durham, you've got Lindsey Graham, you've got William Barr. I mean, all of this is happening right now, and yet crickets.
Right. I always look at the front page of the New York Times, their #1 story, which I always think is in the upper right-hand corner of the paper above the fold front page, is claim on Trump is said to involve a foreign leader about the whistleblower. The whistleblower issue. But again, this will come out. With Bill Barr running the Justice Department, this will come out. Once the IG report on the FISA abuse, and we know it was abuse. When you get a warrant to spy on an American citizen who is working for a presidential campaign, and that evidence that they presented was paid for by that said candidate's opponent, we know there was abuse. But again, the question is, will heads roll? Will people get indicted? Will people pay for what they did to the American people and the abuse of basically our investigative powers?
That's right. Using our intel agencies, using the tools that we used against terrorists, right? Informants, wiretapping. And by the way, we know, and our viewers know this because they saw it on this program and on my Sunday Morning Futures program over on Fox News. There's a piece of exculpatory evidence that's going to come out in this FISA report, and it has to do with George Papadopoulos having a conversation with an informant where the informant says to him, isn't this great? You have all these Russia emails of Hillary Clinton's. Your team's going to be really happy about that, right? And George Papadopoulos answers him and says, no, I would never do something like that. That's treason. All of this is in a transcript because all informants are wired when they are informants and they're doing their job. That transcript was never given to the FISA court. That's going to come out in Horowitz's report, and we're going to get that report within a month. So we'll see. You think there's going to be accountability very quickly?
Yeah, I do. I think Barr is going to hold people accountable.
Hugo, good to see you.
Great to see you.
Thanks for joining us. Hugo Gurdon from the Washington Examiner.